This is Cholmondely Castle, or, if you're posh, like me, Cholmondely Castle. Something to do with the Habsburg jaw, apparently. Let's not dwell on that. And we're here today for the Festival of 1000 Cars, a show held in the magnificently well-appointed gardens of what I think you'll agree is a pretty awesome property. So I tell you what, let's go and look at 1000 Cars, shall we?
Display your package. Ladies and gentlemen, we are specific with the commitment.
I think that's got to be the first time I've ever seen a Skoda on bags.
Yeah.
Because it is a proper communist one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. It's very, very communist and very Soviet. It's the last car that they built before they partnered with Volkswagen and then ultimately made the Felicia, which had quite a lot of VW influence. For me, 7 years ago, one caught my eye and I've kind of been devoted to them since. I run an owners club. I've actually got 3 of them now. It's become a small obsession, and like you say, they're not really a car that at the time was appreciated. They were quite cheap, quite throwaway.
Weren't the cheapest car you could buy in the UK at one point?
Yeah, they were. They were about half the price of, say, a Mark II Volkswagen Polo.
But do you know why I know that?
How do you know?
I'll tell you. Because you could win one on Bullseye. So, yeah, a lot of people, idiots, by the way, a lot of idiots would say, that's not really a classic car, it's just an old Skoda. But how many, and Steve the cameraman, we're both confusingly called Steve. I only work with people also called Steve because I'm getting a bit forgetful these days.
It makes some sense.
We were saying, both of us, it's awesome to see Porsches and Ferraris and exotic cars like that. But for us, it's sometimes more interesting to see cars that you would have seen on the high street back in the day, which you never, ever see now. How many of these are left? You've got 3 of them. Are there more than 5?
I think that's part of the excitement of it, and I do get a lot of people stopping me as well from kind of countries like Poland, etc., because it's quite normal for them to have these. But here in the UK, we only have roughly around 100, somewhere slightly over 100. I've been running a UK owners club now for 7 years, and I do keep quite good track of the favourites we have and the stock we have, best I can.
Is it helpful to come along to shows like this? Because I would imagine people come over and they say, I know where there's one of them.
Well, to be honest, I find that the way it's most helpful is by raising awareness. I've been attending shows in mine for quite a while now, and I had one before this that I took to a lot of VAG events, a lot of kind of stance events that have a lot of the younger people, and I found that drug in a lot of younger people wanting to come in and buy them, and I was seeing an appearance of them in my group. So I find that coming to these shows really helps people kind of gain an interest in them and maybe realise about them when they were forgotten, because I get a lot of people that, they'll say, my dad had one of these, my granddad had one, I was actually driven to hospital in one. There's endless stories that people have, and it's just nice kind of igniting that nostalgia and also the enthusiasm as well, because if we don't have that bit of enthusiasm, we won't have them anymore. It's definitely built over the past few years, and it's something that's very comforting to me because I would like to not see them die out.
Hi Peter, so I believe the club, Cheshire Classic Car Club, are a long-time supporter of this show.
That's right, I started it off, I founded it about 15 years ago. I've been doing shows on my own as an individual, and then decided with a few other people that we used to meet up with to form a club. So we did, so we started off with 4, and now we've currently got about 40 members, which are all vetted really, because we're not a one-mate club. If you look at the cars you see here, anything from 1920s, 30s upwards.
Well, do you have a rule as to what you accept as a classic car? Because there's always that argument about what constitutes a classic, isn't there?
That's right, there is, but we're fortunate really where all our members have got different cars, and we always say to them, you know, if you want to join or something like that, you only can join through an existing member. So we get to cherry pick really.
I think that's like the Hells Angels. Do you have an initiation ceremony?
Yeah, meet in a pub on a Friday.
Oh, that's all right then. So, what do you think of this show? What? I mean, it's a fantastic location, isn't it?
This is one of the best that Matthew does. Cholmondley, I've been coming here 15 years, but it's a great show. It's a great venue. The castle up there, you've got a tea room. And what?
Hold on. It's not a real castle. It's not a real castle, is it? I said to somebody, they said, of course it's a real castle. I said, do you think castles have windows like that? You know, that might be a bit of a problem. If you had people trying to get in, then big windows might be an issue.
So you've got cutouts for the bow and arrows.
Hey, it's a magnificent building, and I've been lucky enough to take a helicopter ride back in the old Pageant of Power days here,
right,
and that was a great event. People used to talk about it as a Northern Goodwood. I wondered about whether that was doable, but I think something like today, this is the way to do it in a place like this. It's far more informal, it's more relaxed, and it's not nearly as much money.
These are great for meeting people, and if you like cars, where else better to go? You know, something like this. Brilliant.
Welcome to a new feature that we're calling Everyone Loves Steve, because I'm called Steve and you're called
Steve.
And the cameraman is called Steve. He is called Steve. And this is
BSA M33.
A BSA M33. As soon as I walked over and said George and Mildred, you said, was he called Stan? Olive and... No, Stan was...
Arthur and Olive.
On the buses. Was it one of these on the buses?
No, I did find out what it was. Oh, it was, but it wasn't one of these. It was an earlier BSA. But yeah. That's what
the only reason that a motorbike and sidecar ever appeared on telly in the 70s when I was a kid was because at some point motorbike and sidecar would become detached from each other for comedic purposes.
Oh, of course. That's what they're there for. Occasionally I'll snap a sidecar fitting, but unfortunately it always stays on the bike. That's the weird thing about it.
Yeah, and the sidecar always stays upright despite the fact that it's not attached to the motorbike anymore. Even as a kid, I couldn't quite work that out. But what a lovely sidecar that is, and you're telling me it's quite rare.
Yeah, made by the Variable Pitch Propeller Company, Cheltenham in Gloucester.
It has an aircraft-esque aspect to it, the chair, as I believe they're called, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's aircraft-type construction as well, so it's all stress skin, built by aircraft people, basically.
And you've got a sticker on here. Is that for real? It says, International 6-Day Trial Press, 1949?
Yep. 1949. It rained apparently in 1949 for the 6-day trial, and this is a 1949 bike, and that's.
So you've just put it there for a bit of character and to con on people like me who say, oh yeah, this thing was in the 6 days trial back in 1949.
Realistically, it would probably be something what the press would have access to use to basically follow the trial. They wouldn't follow the course, but they'd go to certain like sort of evening stop-offs and things like that and stuff.
Well, it's a fine-looking rig, sir, and I'm sure you've got no shortage of volunteers to take up position in the chair.
My missus won't go in it anymore. The kids and grandkids will go in it.
Yeah. Usually people, you always see, you realise that the missus has refused to go in anymore when you see a dog in the sidecar.
Very true, yeah. A lot of people put them on for that reason.
Who doesn't love a dog in a sidecar? Come on. Time for Dog of the Day. What a fine lineup we had at Cholmondely, and our favourite, well, we can't make our minds up. Let us know what you think in the comments. A new feature, Bike of the Day. Inevitably, I've gravitated over to where the bikes are, and for me, it doesn't get much better than this. An original Kawasaki H2, the triple with the ripple, baby. 2-stroke, 3-cylinder, about 75 brake horsepower. This was the fastest accelerating motorcycle on the planet at the time, but you really had to know what you were doing to get the best out of one of these, and many people who did know what they were doing ended up in a box. Yeah, this motorcycle had a right reputation. You won't see another one in this sort of condition, and the sound of these once heard is never forgotten. My bike of the day, 1972 Kawasaki H2. So I'm with Jonathan Jarrett from Oakmere, local stalwarts of both the classic car, the modern car, and now the motorcycle scene.
Exactly that.
Full disclosure, are we actually friends? We've known each other a while, I suppose.
I think friends is maybe stretching it, but yeah, acquaintances very much so.
Well, we're definitely acquaintances. Oakmere, one of the most interesting motor dealers. How would we describe what you do? Because there's very much a regular car business with Toyota and Mazda, but then the other side of Oakmere is, it seems awful to say more interesting, but it kind of is, isn't it?
Well, I guess it depends how you look at it. I mean, we've got lots of interesting and exciting things going on with the volume manufacturers as well. But no, from our point of view, we're well, as you know, we're petrol heads. Fundamentally, I think the thing that runs through our business is we love providing a great service across the whole business. So customer service is where it starts for us. We're all absolutely invested in all the brands we represent. But I think anybody would be lying if we said, yeah, there's something very special about being able to represent some of the smaller, more niche brands. Yeah, there's never a dull day in the office, Steve.
You've always got some interesting classics knocking about the showroom over there in Northwich, haven't you?
We have, and I think for us, half of that is just keeping interest up there. You know, keeping fresh stuff coming into the showroom. It brings in new customers who may well come in to look at a classic, but maybe leave with a Morgan or a Caterham or a Lotus.
Or a Trident Clipper. Now, what even is a Trident Clipper? You're saying to yourself, well, it's that rather awkward-looking car. I hope you don't mind me saying that. One of how many? 37?
37 of them were made, apparently. It's the easiest way to kind of describe it. It was another attempt at a sort of an aborted attempt to relaunch TVR many years ago. So 37 of the cars were made. Of those 37, some of them had a V8 in, and we're very lucky that the one we've got is one of the growling V8 289s.
That's got to be the best example that's left, surely, in the world.
Yeah, potentially. It's been really interesting today because we've probably had more interest, more people looking at that car than anything else, and that is because it is just so unusual. And as you say, the condition of that one is just something else.
Now, you could just stay on a nice day like today in your well-appointed showrooms in Northwich or Prestbury and enjoy the day, but you've chosen to come out here to Cholmondley. Why do you support shows like this? Why do you come along here?
I think it's twofold, really. Firstly, we like to support local events. If people don't support local events or businesses don't, then we see them go. Pageant to Power used to be here. We loved that. Unfortunately, that's now gone. So firstly, we do try and support local events and get out to the community. Secondly, the shows do work for us. There's a lot of cars, things like the Trident, that people aren't necessarily just going to go searching for on the internet. They need to see it. It's something that not many people will go out shopping for a Trident Clipper. But here, people have seen it. People have seen it, and people love it.
I love it. I love this. Is it what do we call it? Is it upcycling? Is it what I've seen on the repair shop?
Upcycling, repurposing, call it what you will. It's making something new out of something old.
So do you always start with the thing that is old and then think, what can I do with this? Or do you think, I want to make a such and such, so I need a... Where does it start? With the thing or the idea?
Could be either. I'll be honest, sometimes I'll see something and think, yes, that'll make a good lamp. Other times I think, if I had such and such, I could make a lamp out of it. So it goes both ways.
And do you find that the sort of people that come to an event like this, a classic car event, I suppose they're like the best people for this sort of thing, aren't they? Because
they're very good for this sort of thing.
Because we like old things.
Yeah. As you look about, a lot of my things are motor or car themed as well.
What's that?
That is an electric drill, or was an electric drill.
It's a hell of a size for an electric drill. Was it like in a factory or something?
That'd take your arms out.
Right.
But yes, it's an industrial one.
Right. So, is this a hobby for you or a full-time job? Or sorry, I don't want to be
retired.
Right.
So it's a bit of both.
So where do you send your stuff? Do you normally sell it? Is that an old 38D gas off a Ford Capri behind you?
It is.
Blimey, I thought I recognised that carburettor. That wasn't bad, was it? Just for that. So, how do you normally sell your stuff? Do you online? I would imagine.
So online at markets and events like this.
Yeah. And what is it about coming out to events like this that you think you get out of the event? Is it a different kind of customer?
A, you make good sales. B, you get good feedback as well.
Yeah, because I suppose...
Look at what people are interested in.
Oh, so can you build things to order for people?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
if they bring something to me and say I want a lamp, for example, making out of this, then I can do that.
Oh, now I'm starting to get ideas. I think this is going to be expensive. Right, it's car of the daytime, but no, it's not this amusingly bi-coloured, is it a Nash Metropolitan or an Austin Metropolitan? It was an attempt to make a car like the Ford Thunderbird out of something around a third the size, maybe not even that. And I'm sure whoever owns it loves it and cares for it deeply. It is not this astonishingly original Triumph Acclaim HLS with velour seats and its original hearing aid beige paintwork. No, my car of the day today here at Cholmondely is this fantastic Series 1 Land Rover. Made in 1951, 80-inch wheelbase, 2-litre engine. It was sold new to the MOD and used by the Royal Artillery between 51 and 64, where it was sold to someone in Liverpool for not a lot of money, I would imagine. Costs you a lot more now, I'll tell you that, and there is not one thing I would change about this car. One of the definitive classics of all time, and my car of the day today, Series 1 Land Rover. Well, what a great venue Cholmondley was. The weather was kind. It was a glorious day. Fantastic turnout. We'll see you all at the next one.